That was just a little snippet of a 40-minute speech. That was Governor Palin firing back at the liberal media last night during what some are calling one of the best delivered speeches in recent memory. Is she the victim of a witch hunt, and is it likely to continue after last night? Joining us right now, got John McCain, author of Independent Nation, as well as a former Rudy Giuliani speechwriter. You got Bernard Whitman, former pollster with Bill Clinton, and Margaret Hoover, former Giuliani aide and Republican strategist, and Andrea Tantaros. She doesn't need a big, lengthy introduction like the others. Let's just go with Republican media consultant. All right? First off, let's start with you, John McCain. When you looked at that speech right now, were you saying to yourself, uh-oh, we're in trouble, Democrats?
Well, we as a Democrat, but I think she gave a very formidable speech. She is an incredibly capable, smart person. She clearly is disarming, charming. She took on her critics. She showed that she could throw a fastball. And I think it was a very effective speech, especially for the people in the audience.
Yeah, and when you talk, Andrea, when you talk about what was in the speech, there was no health care in the speech. There was no education in the speech. Is that enough? Some of the critics are saying, where was the meat?
Yeah, well, the New York Times, of course, they're going to criticize her. But look, I don't think it was her job last night to outline the McCain-Palin healthcare policy. She had to introduce herself to voters. She injected humor. She showed piercing intellect, which is what she needed to do.
Right.
And I think she nailed it. I agree with you, John. It was a perfection.
Bernard.
I think she did a good job at introducing herself and her family to the American people. But what was missing from the speech was, as you mentioned, anything about the economy, anything about health care, anything about the environment. And instead, most of the speech, as most of the speeches here in St. Paul have been, was full of negative personal attacks.
Right.
And I think it's time to move beyond that.
Did it surprise you, Mark? Because there was theories out there that she should be positive, tell her story, and then leave the stage.
Oh, she told her story. She told her story, and then she made some great jokes. She had some smart fastballs, and she also outlined what Barack Obama is offering: bigger government, more taxes, decreased influence in foreign policy around the world. And she did it with a smile on her face, which shows, you know, she really has a sharp weapon in her back pocket.
Plus, Brian, she did talk about the #1 issue to voters right now, which is energy, and she knows energy, and she was very detailed on that.
And more than anything else, I think she practiced the politics of fear. And I think that is what you have to do in the situation. They have no record of success to run on. And instead, they bring out fear. They bring out negative personal attacks, and it's more and more and more of the same.
It takes a Clinton pollster to say they're running on the politics of fear here.
But
I thought she was very, very positive last night. She outlined who her opponents were and who she is.
Think that.
But it wasn't personal attacks. I mean, they were talking substance and policy last night. They were outlining real political decisions.
We're going to continue this little debate inside the pit, and then we're going to come back and talk about what John McCain needs to do tonight. And by the way, how does he top that? They set him up to hit it out of the park. What does he need to do? What do you need to hear? And will there be a bump after this convention like there was at the Democratic convention? Back in Minneapolis soon. All right, we're back with the Pitsters. They're professional arguers. They don't even need me. I've never felt more like a fifth wheel. Bernard Whitman's here, former Bill Clinton pollster, as well as John McCain, still here with a lot of jail, author of Independent Nation, as well as a former Giuliani speechwriter, and Margaret Hoover, former Giuliani aide and Republican strategist, Andrea Tantaros, a Republican and a media consultant. All right, Bernard, your man, Bill Clinton, knocked it out of the park on Wednesday. Barack Obama knocked it out of the park on Thursday. Can John McCain match that enthusiasm and that punctuation and that momentum?
Well, I don't think he can match the enthusiasm because John McCain is not a great orator, but I think he needs to do three things. Number one, he needs to lay out his vision for the economy. The economy has been sort of the elephant in the room here. We haven't heard a single thing about it. He's got to get people to understand how he is going to put America back to work, number one. Number two, he's got to show that he is, in fact, different. Where this maverick guy has been hiding, the politics here in St. Paul have been the same politics that have been practiced for the last 8 years. We got to get beyond that.
I will add this. One thing is clear. They want to emphasize that Barack Obama will raise your taxes. Right, John?
Sure they do. I mean, you know, I think Republicans want to run against a typical sort of tax and spend liberal playbook. That's worked for them in the past. The key for John McCain is not to replay the game book of the past. The key for John McCain is to rebrand the Republican Party in his image, reconnecting with independents. Every time John McCain McCain's made a mistake in this campaign is when he's tried to run as the establishment Republican. Right. Every time you let John McCain be John McCain, that's when he's got a good moment.
But here's the thing, Andrea. He's not a great presenter. He's not great on the teleprompter. And guess what? Tonight is the prompter time. No one's going to yell at him from the audience like he likes in the town hall meetings.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough act to follow. Maybe he's got to have a lot of Red Bulls in him. But I actually agree with Bernard this morning. He has got to be heavy on substance where Palin was light. He's got to lay out his plan for America. And he's got to do that.
Cheer for substance?
That's storming the gates. He's got to get back to the Mavericks. So many people have been saying, what have his handlers done with John McCain? He's not the old John McCain. Bring him back tonight. Get the party together. And as John said, rebrand it in the McCain way.
I think we're going to see that. We're going to see the reformer McCain, which we need to see, and we've got to see him talk about the economy. I mean, I like that the Clinton pollster here reminds us that he's got to feel our pain. The economy is the #1 issue. Barack Obama's out talking about it. While Republicans are here talking about the profile and courage that is John McCain. We're going to see that profile and courage tonight, but we need to hear him talk about the economy.
And don't you think it's going to be a lot to do with the video? We saw some great videos of Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama's life story, and we saw the Britney Spears style presentation. Don't we need to be sold on the bile? Because, John, as you know, he doesn't like talking about his days in war, what he did in the Forest Hall.
But he's got the single most compelling biography of any major American political figure.
But John McCain doesn't like to talk about it.
Which is why, exactly right. I think the video needs to be good. But this is a very much, the McCain people want to make this an attribute election. John McCain's biography is second to none when it comes for demonstrated sacrifice for his country. And if he can build on that biography speech by reconnecting with the reformer, the independents, the fiscal conservative, that's going to be a winning move.
But we have heard so much about why we should care about John McCain. John McCain needs to communicate why he cares and how he cares about the American people. And that's what I think has been missing from this campaign.
And I will say this, it's going to be interesting to see the surge on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because one thing we learned from the Democratic convention is that it changed. I mean, it had a bigger surge on Monday than it did over the weekend, and we got 2 hurricanes. They could blunt a lot of it. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations. You are now capable of having your ticket punched, and the buffet is waiting. No eating before the show, but after the show, there is no limit. All right, thanks so much for coming in, and the pit worked well. Meanwhile, looking at this.